Hello, my viewers. Welcome back to the channel. And by the video title, you know what this video is about. Who will win the AFC North? Of course, you know AFC North football is very good football. People call it the hood of the NFL. AFC North football is going to be a slugfest. It's going to be gritness. It's going to be toughness. It's going to be who wanted more, who's going to outwill each other. That hard-nosed physical football like that in the AFC North. And I think, in my opinion, it's the best division in football. And this year, a lot of the teams in that division are very, very good. So we're going to break it down and see what teams have going to try to win. Like, what team has the best advantages to win the AFC North? Of course, if you guys are not, some of you guys who are subscribed, of course, are Steeler fans. If you're somebody who's not subscribed and you coming in, I'm a Steeler fan, So I'm going to ride my boys every time. But, I keep the biasness aside like that because if a team is better than my team, I'm going to say a team is better. I'm going to say a team has more talent or they have better players like that. But I'm still going to ride my team to go out there to win, of course. But entering this season, the best team in the AFC North is the Bengals, in my opinion. The Bengals, because they have Joe Burrow, and they've been to the AFC Championship game back-to-back years. Joe Burrow is an amazing player. In my opinion, he's the second best quarterback in the NFL. I think I'll take him over Josh Allen. And I put him behind Mahomes because Mahomes is that guy, like that. When you have that guy out there and that person, you like, it don't matter what goes on. Like when the Patriots had Tom Brady, you like, okay, the O-line might not be the best sometimes. The defense is always the best most of the time because Bill Belichick is the defensive-minded coach. But the receiving corps might not be the best. But as long as I got 12, I know we good. As long as I got 15 Mahomes, I know we good. As long as I got Burrow, we are good. Like that. So if you had a guy like the Steelers had Ben Roethlisberger, as long as we got him, we good. Like that. We might not have the best structure around. Every receiver can be injured. We can have some receivers, from the high school. As long as we got Big Ben out there, we good. So like when you have that quarterback, when you have that guy, you kind of take the pressure off a lot of everybody on the team, really, like that, because that guy is gonna be big time. Like I mentioned before in past videos, the guys closest to the football are the most important. So the guys who work in the trenches and control a line of scrimmage, like the offensive line and the D line, like that, pass rushers and stuff like that, and the quarterback, those are the most important players on the field. Everybody's important, of course, but those are the most important players because they control the narrative of the game, the pace of the game, like that. And if you're on defense and you can disrupt their pace and make them force things, and on offense you can control the pace and just do what you want willingly and win the line of scrimmage and get that push and force, and make everything easier. The Bengals got a good team, a great team. Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase are two #1 receivers, really. And then Tyler Boyd is a guy who just merged well with them, make plays like that. He's a guy you can rely on third down and stuff. They don't have a tight end right now. Hayden Hurst is not on the team anymore, but they don't really need a tight end. When you have all that talent right there, when you have Joe Burrow and those guys, you don't need a tight end. And I feel like their defense is pretty good too as well. So and they lost some safeties. They lost two of their safeties. They lost Jesse Bates and they lost I think Von Bell. Yeah, they lost both of the safeties like that. But I think they're willing to they were kind of already planning on moving on from Bates and stuff because they seen the backup safety stepping up, the young safety stepping up too. So they still have a good defense like that, and they're a good team. In my opinion, they're the best team entering the season. Now that don't mean because you're the best team entering the season, the best team in the AFC North entering the season, don't mean you're gonna win the division like that. We've seen teams who have better teams on rosters, who have better players. Like, oh, they got the best quarterback, they got the best this guy, but we've seen what happened. Like sometimes you can it's about coaches, it's about strategies, it's about who has that will and that dire and that desire. Like I'm a Miami Heat fan, so you guys know I talk about the Miami Heat on here a lot. The Miami Heat might not have the best player, might not have the best rosters, but they beat the #1 seed Bucks. I think who had the best players and the best roster because they had will and they had grit, determination. They hustle and they play hard like that. So you might not have the most talent, but if you can have that mental toughness to go out there to lay it out on the line, you can win these games. And then next team I put the Ravens and Steelers in the same boat. They always that the rivalry has been tied together for a long time. I thought the Steelers did a great job. A very good job. Of course, when Mr. Colbert was here, he did a good job too, like that, picking some things and stuff. But for the past few years, he kind of was not taking any chances, being too conservative. But Mr. Khan got here, going out there being aggressive and saying, "Hey, we need to address the position." Because Colbert used to just let it play out. Be like, you know what, we just gonna wait and see what happens and see if some guys fall to us. We can find some cheaper deals. Mr. Khan said, "We need tackle. Let's go and get the best tackle available. Not wait to get a guy who we think might be good. No. Let's get the guy we know who is good in Broderick Jones. Let's go out there and add Allen Robinson, a veteran receiver, and make him our third option. Because look, Allen Robinson can be a third man. Like if he got George Pickens and then Deontay Johnson. Then you have Allen Robinson right there as a third option. Come on, he can cook that third cornerback. He better be able to cook that third cornerback. And then you got Najee Harris out there, Pat Freiermuth, Darnell. It's Washington, right? I believe so. I say his name wrong. I'm still learning the rookies' names and stuff like that. But you got Darnell out there going crazy like that. So we have a lot of different teammates and different players out there. I said teammates like I'm on the team. We got a lot of different players out there. And, you know, a lot of us Steelers fans are very pumped up because we've seen this team like kind of like just grow. Last year was a good year for us. It was a rebuild year, kind of like in-season rebuild, but still competing. We went 9-8 in a rebuild year. And it taught the young guys on the team as well to like, when feel like the adversity on you and like see what they do when they're under pressure and the lights are bright. Because they really couldn't afford to lose anything, really. Lose a game after that one point when they lost to the Bengals the second time. They couldn't afford to lose any games. It was like, you know, the pressure's on. Now let's see if we can go out there and win. And they won and went seven. They finished 7-2 over the bye week like that. It was very good. And we've seen them make big time plays. Kenny Pickett with like 4 or 5 game winning drives like that down the stretch, showing his clutchness. And I kind of got sold on Kenny Pickett by the couple first drives and stuff like that he had, the game winning drives he had early on, like the Colts one and the Falcons one and stuff. I was like, okay. But I got sold on him when I see him make that elite playmaking ability. I'm not saying he's elite fully yet, but I've seen the elite flashes in Kenny Pickett. That Ravens game, that Raiders game, I was like, yep. He sold me with that right there. So, like, I feel like this offseason we had the full first-team reps, not battling Mr. Trubisky and all that stuff, all that noise. It's just him getting the full first-team reps. He being the bona fide starter entering this year. He's going to make a big jump like that. And I see some good numbers come for Kenny. I predicted before, I think I said 3,900 yards, passing yards. And I said 25 touchdown passes, probably 9 interceptions, and probably 5 rushing touchdowns. 5 rushing touchdowns, probably 400 rushing yards. I think he's going to be able to use his legs to get out and help us hopefully win 12-plus games like that this season. But moving on to the Ravens. The Ravens are a good team, too. Like that, you know, Odell Beckham getting added. I see how Odell going to look fully. They drafted a receiver, too, early on to help that receiving core out. Rashad Bateman was already there. He was pretty good. I had my fantasy team last year. Mike Duvernay, another guy who was good, especially in special teams and stuff like that, making plays, being that gadget guy type of player. And if J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards can stay healthy, the Ravens can put a beating on people because you know that running game is very, very dangerous like that when they get going. And Lamar Jackson, he can stay healthy too as well. Lamar Jackson is a playmaker. You need playmakers nowadays. Every quarterback in the AFC North is a playmaker. They can get out the pocket. They can make plays. Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. You need those type of guys because like when the play busted down, you don't want a guy that's stationary and there. You want a guy to be able to open the playbook up a little bit. You can do some rollouts and do different things, and he get the option to either pass it, or he can get an option to run it. Like the RPOs, you can run different schemes. It just opened up so much for the playbooks and stuff. But Lamar Jackson, you know, in my opinion, he's a good quarterback, of course. A good quarterback. I just got to make sure he stay healthy, though, because we've seen him, the flashes, early in the year. It happens like the past 2-3 years. We see some flashes. The Ravens have a great record. Like the Ravens last year, he started off very good. Lamar got injured, and they made the play. They were still in the playoffs like too, but they lost in the playoff game. Tyler Huntley with the fumble with the goal line. And the year before that, they was on what? They was 8-2. And they lost 6 straight games by Lamar. No, they was 8-2. It was 8-2, or they was 8-3. I think 8-3. Yeah, they lost 6 straight games and finished 8-9 by Lamar. So Lamar is a dynamic piece for them. He's very valuable like that. He's 41-16 as a starter, I believe so. So Lamar Jackson is very good. It's just he got to stay healthy because he is the driving force of that team. Without him, you're not going to be winning like that. So, yeah, make sure you stay healthy. But with that running scheme they got and that defense they have out there, too, getting Roquan Smith last year and locking them up with a big-time deal, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And then we get down to the Browns. The Browns. The Browns is always a kind of like a crazy team to kind of like analyze a little bit because Deshaun Watson, that's the main question. Because the Browns, you look at their roster, you be like, okay, they got Nick Chubb, who's a very good running back. They got a good defense. Myles Garrett, who's a very good player, top 5 in his position. Like that, you got Denzel Ward, who's a good corner, Pro Bowl cornerback and stuff. You got these pieces on different spots. David Njoku, up and coming. Like that, he makes big-time plays, too, here and there. And you got Amari Cooper, who's an elite-level route runner, who's a multiple-time Pro Bowler. I believe he was an All-Pro before? I think he was second-team All-Pro. I might be mistaken, but he's a Pro Bowler, stuff like that. A very good receiver. The quarterback question is the only thing. They paid Deshaun Watson $230 million like that. So they stuck with them like that. But hopefully they stuck with them for a good reason because, like, he didn't look too good last year. I know he was a little rusty coming off the what's the name, but you still expected to see a little bit of flashes like that. He just looked too hesitant to do things like that. He was like shaking and like that, was not making the right decisions and stuff like that and the right reads. So hopefully he can get back into it. But this division is gonna be very good and very tough. If we ranking some of the like top players, like who has the best quarterback, Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the division. But I think it's probably Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Kenny Pickett, and Deshaun Watson. You're going based off of like last year, like that. Then best running back. All the running backs are very good in the division. Najee Harris is very good. I think Najee Harris is going to have a big-time year this year. The O-line is fixed. You see Najee Harris been doing with the O-line that was kind of like shaky last year. He had a bad injury in his foot. Got healed up, finished with 1,000 yards like that in the bad year. He finished with 1,000 yards. And the year before that, he had 1,200 yards like that with a bad O-line. With a good O-line, I think Najee about to go out there and put up 1,500 yards with less carries too, because him and Jalen Warren will be mixing it up a little bit. Oops, my bad. But Jalen Warren will be mixing up a little bit. I think Najee Harris is going to have a big-time year. I'm thinking 1,500 yards and 12 to 13 rushing touchdowns. He had a big-time year, all-pro year coming. I can just feel it like that. Because like, it's kind of like he's been like kind of pushing for that a little bit like that too. And got a good O-line now too. And an athletic tackle to get to the next level when you run those edges. Hey, it's going to be very good. Nick Chubb, very good running back. Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins as a duo together, very good. And of course, Joe Mixon is very good too. He might be gone though, because Joe Mixon got a lot of things going on off the field, and I don't know if the Bengals are going to do like that. So we're going to see what happens with that situation. But best receivers in the division, there's a lot of receivers in the division as well too. If you look at the teams, you look at you look at the teams. So you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, George Pickens, you got Odell now in there mix too, Mark Cooper, of course. And I was ranking the best receiver. I'll probably say Jamar Chase, of course, based off of statistics and numbers he put up. But I think the best receiver coming, I think after this year, we're gonna see George Pickens because he's bigger, bigger receiver, can be a deep threat as well, and can make big time plays down the field and very physical too. I think George Pickens is gonna emerge as that guy too. And Mark Cooper is always consistent and very good, so he's always gonna be up there too. We talk about T. Higgins is very good too, like that. Can go out there and make plays too. But it's a lot of great receivers in this division. Tight ends, Mark Andrews, of course, he's all-pro. And then behind him is Pat Fryerman. Pat Fryerman, I feel like he's on the brink of a big year. Because last year he had, 700 yards like that. I feel like if he, early on, if Mr. Trubisky gave him a little more chances like that, and like some of the guys give him more chances, like in the past game with some of the play calling, he could have had more yards like that too as well. But he finished, second in he was second or third in receiving yards for us like that. So he was playing very good last year. I think he was 700 yards last year, yeah. Hopefully this year he get double-digit touchdowns. He can get 800 plus yards, make the Pro Bowl this year as well, like that. Maybe get some All-Pro votes. You never know, second team All-Pro. You're not gonna get first team with Travis Kelce in the AFC. You're not gonna get first team with that guy right there. That guy right there is just a monster. I think he's always open. But second team would be good, very good too, though, of course. But I think Pat Fryermuth is due for a big year. Mark Andrews is always very good too. David Njoku going to be due for a good year too as well, like that. Especially everything, the chemistry get there with the team as well. And you just look at the teams like that, it's gonna be nice. And defenses, I think the Steelers had the best defense in my opinion. You got freaking like 4 All-Pros on the team. You got Patrick Peterson, he still got some juice left. Cam Hayward, who's very dominant still. T.J. Watt, who's very, very dominant. And then Minka Fitzpatrick, who's very, very dominant. The best safety in the league, and you got, in my opinion, the best edge rusher in T.J. Watt. So you got two top players in their position like that. The Steelers got the best defense, in my opinion, in that division. So there's a lot of things. And then you go by coaching. Of course, it'd be Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. I won't say Jim Harbaugh, but Mike Tomlin and John would be the top coaches like that. And then you look at the other ones, Zach Taylor, and then you pick Kevin Stefanski like that. But these teams right here got a lot in common. They're going to play hard. They're going to play tough. They're going to play scrappy like that. And they're going to go out there and give it their all like that. And it's always scrappy. Every game in the division is always big time. But as you guys know, I'm a Steeler fan like that. Got to represent the 4-1-2. So I'm going with my Steelers to win the division. I think the division will be won by... In this division, you're going to have to win 12 to 13 games to win the division. Because this division is very tough like that. Unless we just all beat down each other like that. Other than that, you have to win by 12 games to win the division. Because you're not going to win the division with 10 wins, 11 wins like that. That happened. 10 wins happened a few years ago, which is surprising. But most of the time, you have to win. You have to put 12 wins up to win this division like that. Because 3 teams out of this division probably make the playoffs, most likely, like that. So it's going to be very scarce, different scary spots. You always want to have that home game at least once like that. So we're gonna see what happens like that. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Who you think gonna win the division? Steelers. Who you think gonna win the division or like that? Let me know in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys next time on the video. Peace out.